if we're going to grow, if we're going to move on, if we're going to have a life that's full and satisfying and rich and rewarding, then we have to leave our comfort zone. We have to leave that little safety net. Leave your nets. Friends, it's Diane here at Someone Gets Me. And today we're talking about leaving your nets. As gifted and neurodivergent people, and I think for many ways, all people, it's important that we learn what a net is, how to leave it, and how we can make our life more aligned with our calling. So I guess the subtitle of this show could be Leave Your Nets, Answer the Call. Could be that, right? So there's all different kinds of things I've been thinking about. And actually, the show kind of came to me as I was playing with Allie, my dog, and I started thinking about the whole idea of nets. And so there's nets like a safety net underneath the trapeze artists, right? And that's a good thing because it can save you from harm. And you still have to learn how to leave the net, right? And so that's interesting. And then I started thinking about fishing nets, like the shrimpers use the big fishing nets or the casting nets. They're meant to snag fish in order to get them and eat them, right? And sometimes other animals get caught in there that are not desirable and they throw them back, or maybe that animal gets hurt or something. And so there's all kinds of issues around those kinds of nets. And then there's the nets used to trap things like trap bears, right? Or a mosquito net. Then there's the net you use to get the leaves out of the pool. So there's all different kinds of nets. And us gifted people, we get caught up in a lot of them. And sometimes people try to net us. Sometimes there's something else or someone else trying to net us. So I want to talk today about leaving our nets, leaving the restrictions, leaving the bindings, maybe leaving the scaffolding and the belief systems that we've been entrained with that may or may not serve us. The things that work, we keep. The things that don't work, we let go of. That's the way I look at it, right? So let's look at this for just a minute. Are you having nets underneath you to catch you if you fall? That would be a savings account. That would be friends and family and support systems. That would be doing healthy things so that if your body needs something, it gets it. Those are all those kinds of nets. Or are you plagued with a fishing net where you're caught up in something? It's like your scales are caught or your fins, like your arms and legs are all caught and you can't get out of the net, or you feel like you can't get out of the net. Seems like it, right? Or were you just walking along down the street and boom, you fall in a hole like that old grizzly bear and now you're caught in a net? Which one of those does your life feel like? Or maybe it's been a combination over time. Sometimes I feel like I've been caught in different nets. In fact, I remember one time when I didn't really understand existential depression yet. And I remember telling somebody that I was walking down the street and I felt like I was like, just walking through life. And all of a sudden somebody came up from behind me and just threw a net over me and stopped me from answering my calling. And it was very disconcerting. It had a lot of pain along with that experience. I was calling it depression, and it really rocked my world. And it's happened a few times in my life where I'm cruising along, everything's doing great. And next thing I know, I feel like somebody's snared me with the net and is holding me back. And my job is to leave the net, get out of the net. And I think that's true for a lot of gifted people. We go through those times. I think if we're trying to transform and grow and bring our uniqueness to the world, we go through those experiences. So though nets often are meant to catch us if we're falling in danger, sometimes we can be experiencing something as if we're being snared or caught. And so I want to talk about how to free yourselves from those snares and things, and also a way to look at your life so that you can understand that maybe sometimes if you get caught in a net, it's stopping something from harming you. Because not every time that we're slowed down or stopped is a problem. Sometimes we're being caught. We just don't see it that way, or we don't realize it in that way. And so I think leaving our nets is really important. Now, in some world, and in sometimes in my world, leave my nets means leave the comfort and safety of what I know. If we're going to grow, if we're going to move on, if we're going to have a life that's full and satisfying and rich and rewarding, then we have to leave our comfort zone. We have to leave that little safety net place that we're hanging out. We have to be willing to leave the net and see what's going on. Baby birds have to learn how to leave their nest in order to fly. Well, I think it's the same analogy here. Like we have to be willing to leave our little net, our little nest in order to fly. I believe that gifted people are here on planet Earth to bring about positive and powerful change, to usher in a life of kindness and compassion, to be able to have critical thinking and ways to really bring joy and goodness to the world. We hold that. So how are we going to leave the net and the snare of distraction, of doom scrolling, of being caught in a system that isn't made for us, or in a dynamic that holds us back? So I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. Now, I work with my clients all the time on these kinds of things. And you know what? I'm also working with myself on it. And I have support people in my life. I had somebody just the other day go, I've been following you for a long time and you're always growing and evolving and changing. And I'm like, well, yeah, because there's no finish line. We're not done. All of us are growing and changing, always. And if somebody says they're done, or there's no more growing and changing for them, they're beginning the dying process, because there's always something to learn. There's always a way to transform or grow. My mantra is, I am raising my vibration. Say it with me. I'm raising my vibration, meaning I am uplifting myself. I'm bringing my inner fire. I'm humbly offering my gifts to the world. I am bringing my giftedness, my neurodivergence, my intuition, my sensitivity to everything that I possibly can. If it's not well received, I don't give it any longer. But if it is well received, I go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated, right? And so what are your gifts? What are you bringing? Are you bringing your intuition, your amazing gifted ability to see connections that others can't see? Or maybe you're bringing your ability to be an amazing athlete and inspire people to keep their body healthy, or a great creative genius. There's so many ways you can bring your giftedness to the world that only you can do. After all, your calling wasn't a party line. It wasn't a conference call. It was between you and your heart, your creator. So what is your calling? What is it that you want to bring out? What's that burning desire in your heart that you want to bring to the table? Now, sometimes it feels kind of big, and sometimes it feels like I can't do that, or I don't know how to do that, or I don't even know what that means. I've asked that a few times. Like, I don't even know what that means. My answer is yes, but I don't know what it means. And so it takes some attention. It takes some meditation. It takes some quiet. It takes sometimes information from an outside person, a dialogue, to help awaken that part in you. I know when I'm talking to a trusted friend, I often get more amazing ideas, or I see the connections a little bit differently than when I'm only in my own head. So let's talk about the steps, okay? You ready? The first step is to honor your calling. Honor yourself. Honor the fact that there's a heart's desire in you. There's a dream in you. There is an urging in you, if you will, being compelled to bring something forward. Now, you may not know exactly what it is yet, and you might have a perfect idea. And all of those are fine. The point is honoring it. Now, honoring it means to say yes, to say, okay, I may not have any idea how I'm going to do this. I'll let the universe work on that. I am really not sure, but I know it's in my heart, so it's meant for me to do, so I'm going to say yes. Now, the good news is we don't have to have all this done by lunchtime tomorrow. It's not a weekend project. It's a lifelong experience. It's a journey. It's a beautiful unfoldment of who you really are from the inside out. So the first step is honoring that. There's a level of integrity, inner honesty, because sometimes you might touch that beauty in you and go, I don't know. You might have to heal some shame. You might have to work on a little bit of self-doubt to begin to step into the saying yes part. That's where the transformation and the fun work is. It's easy to say honor it, but if you were taught not to honor yourself, you might have to start with just the beginning part of, how do I even honor who I am? Like, really, how do I do that? And what does that look like? And how does it feel? So that's the first thing. And sometimes there's work that comes into getting to there. And so that's why it's not like an overnight process. You can't just check this off on an Excel spreadsheet or a line item list. These are things that are ongoing evolution, that are ongoing work. Even honoring myself and all the different gifts I have and my giftedness. And just recently, I've been honoring more deeply my neurodivergence. I've had these neurodivergent ways my entire life. And obviously, right, we all have. But what happens is sometimes we're taught to mask them or minimize them or act as if everybody has them. And so therefore it's normal. And so we have to keep digging deeper and realizing that these things we bring are beyond words. And sometimes they're even beyond our own human comprehension, but yet they're real and we feel it. The second step is to realize that you are complete, to live in your ideal of being self-complete. That means that you have everything that you need to bring to the world everything you're meant to bring to the world. You have everything you need. What I tell myself and other people is, I am perfect, whole, and complete. Say it with me. I am perfect, whole, and complete. So what that means is that everything that is required for you to honor that call already lives in you. You may not know it yet. You may not even feel it. You might think I'm sounding goofy, but it's true. It's in there. I remember when somebody told me it was in me way back when. I was like, no, they're crazy. They don't know who they're talking to. I don't have any of those things. And you know who was wrong in that? Me. I did have all those things. People were seeing in me things I didn't even know was a thing to see, much less do anything with. So we want to realize that we're enough. I always think when I say I'm enough, it's an idea of living in enoughness, right? You are enough. You are perfect, whole, and complete to bring out everything that you are meant to bring out. So it's really fun because people say, yeah, but I'm not this or I'm not that. Well, that's not what you're meant to bring out. That's the beauty of all of humanity. All of us have a unique inner calling, something to bring to the world. And if we get out of alignment or we stay out of alignment, right, and we don't honor that, we end up being irritable, angry, we harm other people, we act in ways that we regret later in life, because what we've done is we have betrayed our own essence. So when you don't listen to who you really are and you act out of anger and harm and disrespect, you are betraying yourself. And self-betrayal is the ultimate betrayal, and it's the most dangerous of all. Now, I believe that at some point in most of our lives, we've betrayed ourselves, whether we set out to or not, or knowingly or not, we have. We've set out to do one thing and we've done something else, or we've let old wounds or old trauma dictate behavior that wasn't pretty or was way out of alignment, right? We've all done it. But the real healthy person, the real gifted person who really cares about themselves in the world says, well, hold on a minute here. How can I use this to bring about even more benefit to the world? How can I be the beneficial presence instead of allowing the old energy, the trauma, the stuff to take me down a path of darkness, of anger, of rage, of grief, of harm to myself and others? So we build an idea that we are complete in and of ourselves to fulfill what we're meant to fulfill. Again, this can take some time to get to. When I first started my transformation journey, it took me about 5 years to get to this place where I really believed I was complete. Now I could mentally say, yeah, okay, I get it. I am. I have everything I need. I see that. And it was all in my head. But it took it a couple of years to migrate all the way down to my heart and keep on going to my spirit before I got it, before I had the epiphany after a dark night of the soul that it is true. It's undeniable, and it's not my ego. So you're going to have a similar process. It doesn't just happen like that all the time, though it does sometimes. It's a process of making friends with the fact that you are a blessing. You are meant to be a beneficial presence. That the idea that somehow you're faulty or flawed was made up along the way to hold you in a net. And if you want to leave that net, it's time to challenge some of the beliefs that may not be serving you. The good news is you can change them. If they don't serve you, change the belief to something that is serving, meaning is doing the right thing, not serving self-interest, serving the greater good. The third step is to open a way out, right? So if we're stuck in the net, we got to sort out our way out. Now, for some people, it means changing their job because the job's that net holding them, right? Or maybe starting a company or a business or going to school or learning something, enhancing what's already in there in order to develop it more. And so that's opening a way out. For some people, it might be getting out of an abusive relationship or setting healthy boundaries finally with loved ones. Those are all ways out of the traps. So again, it's personal and it's individual of the different ways we would handle these things and the ways we would grow through the idea of opening the way out. I know one time in my career, I walked out on a job. I mean, I quit reasonably with the right level of notice and everything, but I left it. And I left it because it was not serving me. And some of the people that I was working with were doing things that I didn't agree with on a clinical, ethical kind of level. And so I had to leave. I didn't really want to leave the work, but I also knew that situation, I had outgrown it. And then I looked back on it a little bit later and I was like, I went into that situation making excuses for the not so great behavior of the other people and saying, well, they can do their thing, I'll do my thing, and I'll keep myself separate, it'll be fine. Well, that's not true. I had myself fooled. The truth is everything we experience, everything's connected to everything. So I could only keep the wall up for so long before it affected me in a way that got my attention. So we all have these little games we play in our head, or the disillusions sometimes, or the illusions sometimes, or maybe we call them hallucinations, where we're just seeing things that aren't necessarily accurate. It doesn't have to be a mental illness, right? So there's all kinds of ways where we have to really confront the fact that it's time to open the way. And that's where we really have to leave the net. That's where the jumping point off is, right? Because we have to be willing to say, not doing this. I'm following what I'm aligned to do. I'm following my heart. I'm making good decisions based on who I know I am and what I know I'm supposed to be doing. And I'm walking down that road saying yes at all the junctures. And sometimes that means taking risks. And sometimes it means consulting with lots of other different people in order that are trusted, right? Trusted people in order to make that good decision. I always tell people never to make these kinds of big decisions on their own, to have a trusted group, a cohort, an inner circle, a really strong mentor or coach or somebody who can listen to what's happening and have a dialogue with you so that you can make the best decision from the inside out. You don't want people in your life who are going to play devil's advocate or try to tell you what to do. You are a free thinking, amazing, gifted person, and only you can feel your calling. Nobody else can feel it because it's yours. So somebody else might say, don't do this or don't do that. And that's from their perspective, but they can't feel it. I know part of my calling included this very show, Someone Gets Me. And it was in July, actually. And it was, I think, 5 years ago now or something. We're up over, I don't remember how many episodes. It's a lot. So, and every Tuesday, the show comes out. And I remember when I said I was starting it, I had a really cool business coach at the time, and he advised me against it. He said, it's really not a way to grow your business. It's not a way to do anything. I said, but what if I just want to serve people? What if what I know is that if I freely give, all the right and perfect resources show up? So what if that's true? What if I'm not trying to use it as a marketing tool? And he said, well, then, you really don't want to spend your time on that. There's other things you should be doing. And I heard what he was saying. I understood the logic. It didn't resonate with my heart. It didn't land on me in a cozy way. It kind of was prickly. I'm like, this doesn't feel aligned for me. I think I'm going to say yes. And I'm going to follow my heart, and I'm going to see where it goes. And I can always change my mind. So I started, and in 21 days, this show was in 21 different countries. I'm like, how did that happen? How did people from 21 different countries start listening to me? And I didn't even do any marketing or anything. I just put it out there. And one of my other advisors said, it's because what you have to say has value. And that was yet another coming home to my self-completeness and my realizing that maybe some of the things that I just think are average are really meaningful for others. So you will have these similar kinds of experiences. Fast forward, as a funny side note, fast forward, that very same person now has a podcast. Oh, when I saw it announced, I laughed. I said, yep, that's how it is. Gifted people were 5 years ahead of most everybody else. There's another example of it. But I'm really having a great time sharing things I'm thinking about and hearing feedback and getting comments and having people email me and having people say, this really helped. Thank you so much. If one person is better for my presence on earth, I've done it. I've answered my call. So think about what your call is and what are ways you can bring it forward. So you want to begin to open up opportunities and ways. And that might be school or interviewing people or researching or listening to other podcasts or things, whatever it takes. Let your curiosity lead the way. And your yes will show you how to go. The next part of this is to start aligning your inner resources. Now, you have a lot of inner resources, from creativity to intelligence and intuition. You have ability to critically think. You can read and write and speak, right? You have the ability to learn. You have the ability to see things other people can't see, maybe. You have all kinds of things working in your favor. So it's a time to sit back and say, what are my inner resources? Now, we're also going to look at our outer resources, but first we want to look at our inner resources, because a lot of times people look for resources and they think, well, I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have this. I don't have a degree after my name. I'm like, okay, what are your inner resources? You might not have a degree after your name, but you might have a specific ability to help people or do something that doesn't require a degree, or that a degree is kind of a moot point. I know a lot of artists they don't have degrees. Or maybe they have degrees in something that has nothing to do with their art, but their art changes things. I know musicians in the same way. I know other people who are out doing all kinds of amazing things in the world, serving and helping and bringing who they are, and it's not degree dependent. Now, thankfully, we live in a society that's kind of waking up to the fact that degrees are important. Education is important. When I was young, I was told all the time, get a good education. It's the one thing they can't take from you. I never figured out who they was until recently. And nobody can take from me the things I've learned. Nobody can take from you the things you've learned. And it's all important, whether you learn it through higher education or official academia, or whether you learn it through life experience or a really good video. Learn everything you can, because those inner resources that get awakened from you learning all the different things are the fuel that will help you open the way out, that will help you see how complete you really are, that will help you answer the call. They all weave together. They all weave together. And then the next part is live every day new. Live every day, wake up fresh and whole and clean. Allow yourself to realize that every time you wake up in the morning, that day is a brand new little baby. It's brand new. It's fresh. It's young. It's clean. It's innocent. So how are you going to care for that day? How are you going to care for you in that day? Maybe hydrating, exercising a little, loving on yourself, being kind to others, smiling. What can you do? to bring out that part of you in a nurturing, honorable, kind way. I think sometimes we're really hard on ourselves. We're taught to no pain, no gain, and beat up on ourselves. And there are situations where no pain, no gain works in the gym. That's not how we want to live our whole life. We want to live our whole life by really honoring that we have all that we need in our resources, and every day is a new day. I have a lot of really tricky days sometimes. I am very busy and do a lot of different cool things, and I'm so grateful. And there are some days that are way trickier than others. So by waking up every morning and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, the moment I wake up. And the day is fresh and clean. And I imagine the innocence of a newborn, or the innocence of my dog when she was a puppy, kind of her innocence now too, right? Or the innocence of anything new, the innocence of a brand new flower getting ready to bloom, where the petals are very delicate and need care or they'll be harmed. So how can I take care of my day that way? And then at the end of the day, I go and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you to the universe. And also, most importantly, at that time, to me. Thank you for being there for me the whole day. When I did great things and when I did not so great things and when I did nothing. Thank you for being there. Thank you. Offering gratitude is so powerful in a real, actionable way. It's one thing to write it down. It's another thing to live it. So we want to have gratitude in the 3 different major areas, right? Gratitude for the things that we desire and the events we desire. Gratitude in the face of the things that aren't so hot. And gratitude simply for being. Simply for whatever, not for anything in specific, but life itself, the planet itself, air. So the way I handle that is I say thank you when I go through doorways or open a drawer. Like, here's a drawer, open the drawer, say thank you, close the drawer, say thank you. And in my mind, I'm holding that place of gratitude. That's how we keep our each day fresh and young. That's how we keep connecting to our own inner resources. And the last step is to live your vision. Say yes to who you are and what you're meant to do. And most likely, you already, you might be afraid to bring it out. You might think you need external permission. You might think, oh, the world's getting goofy, so I don't know if I want to do that. You might have a lot of anger or pain or resentment, and you might secretly want to go judge and harm other people, which is way out of alignment with your soul. You may want to just go hide. And then you put your hand on your high heart right here, and then you say, well, that I can't hide forever. Because see, gifted and neurodivergent people with ADHD, in fact, the research is starting to show what I've always been saying. Finally, science is backing me up, that people who have ADHD particularly are bringing in a new way of processing. So it's not a dysfunction. It's not a problem to be solved. It's something to honor as elevating and transforming the way humans process and think. It's a new way being birthed through people with ADHD and different neurodivergence. That's what it is. That's what I've been saying for a long time. And people have looked at me like I've lost my mind, but I can feel it. I can feel it when we're 2 to 5 years ahead of everyone else, because we just are. No one's trying to be different or weird. We just are different. And it's not good or bad. It just is. It can be a struggle because we're breaking out of the net of the old way, of the way that was more typical, was more normal. And we're entering into a way of living in our own being that is more aligned with who we're meant to be. And so the more aligned we get, the more our ADHD and our neurodivergence works in our favor. The more out of alignment we are, or the more we try to hide or mask, the more it works against us. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of tired of my ADHD working against me. I'm kind of tired of having to feel like I'm running through jello to deal with my giftedness. I would like to have things more flowy and working in my favor. And I've learned, sometimes the hard way, that when I say yes to using all of these inner resources that came with these things that we call ADHD and giftedness and neurodivergence, it comes with that, that my life is better because I say yes to allowing those things to show up. So I want to encourage you. I really want to encourage you to bring your amazing inner self to the table. Do the work you got to do to heal the grief if you have any, or heal the imposter syndrome, work through things. If you have questions about how to do any of it, reach out to me, do a get to know you call, email me something. I will help show you the way. I had people helping me, and I'm happy to help you. But don't sit there and say, but I don't know, and make excuses, because all that does is create an incredible inner pain. And you don't need to be in pain and silent. It's no fun. And too many gifted people are living with silent misery. Too many people with neurodivergence are living in that silent pain because they're either afraid to reach out, or they've reached out to someone and it didn't go well. I mean, I've been laughed at by the professionals. It really hurt. I have had other people laugh at me when I said, what do you know about being gifted? What do you know about, neurodivergence? I have been laughed at. I have been told I'm an anomaly. I've been told all kinds of things that were really hurtful at that time because they were making fun of me. But what I've learned is that was just their ignorance. Didn't take the sting away, but I didn't have to own it. So today I want to encourage you to honor your call. Remember that you're perfect, whole, and complete, just like you are. That you have everything within you that you need to live the life you desire, to live in your center, in your purpose. Everything is already in there. Your job is to bring it out, like an archaeologist, bring it out and free yourself from the net in order to be who you're meant to be. That's what your job is. It's really fun. Now, it's funny because a lot of people say, oh, it's all easy and it's great, because they talk about the end. But I can tell you it's real tricky sometimes, and it's very scary sometimes, and it's also dark sometimes. My very first spiritual mentor, who I didn't even call a spiritual mentor when I knew him, I mean, I still know him, but when I met him, he said, this kind of life, following who you are in your heart, it's not for wimps. I didn't get how true that was until many years later. It's not for wimpy people. So what I know about you is that you're strong, you're determined, you have ability and structure and depth beyond your own understanding. What I also know about you is that you're living in this human world that can be really tricky and different and distracting. And so what I know about all of us humans is that we do best when we have a circle of people around that can understand us. That's the power of retreats, of conferences, of Zoom calls, of whatever it takes to bring us together. So I'm here to help bring all of these things together. I have an upcoming retreat for that reason. I also do all different kinds of things to bring people together. So if you have an idea and you're not sure how to do it, share it with me. I'll see how I can support you and do it, or whatever. We'll get it to happen, because I think it matters that we all keep coming together and keep reminding each other of who we are and why we're here. We're here to be a beneficial presence on this planet. So I hope this episode has served you. I hope I've said something to help bring you a bit of joy and give you some extra hope as a gifted neurodivergent person. So what I want to say in closing is leave your nets. It's okay to peel them off, jump off the net, allow yourself to live who you're really meant to be. You won't regret it. Make sure you use discernment and you have the right people in your corner. Don't do it alone, because we're not meant to be alone. And so in the meantime, keep your face to the sun so the shadows fall behind you, because you are a rock star. You're here on purpose with a mighty purpose. So go out there and let your light shine. Say yes to who you really are. Allow people to support you. You are not alone. Until the next episode of Someone Gets Me, this is Dianne saying, be well.